U.S. federal agents uncovered a major CJNG-linked internal infiltration across multiple agencies, leading to a coordinated nationwide crackdown. Investigators recovered 3.88 kilograms of cocaine, 28 kilograms of meth, 42 kilograms of cocaine in Houston, and a total of 2.1 tons of narcotics from multiple states. Dozens of cartel operatives and compromised federal staff members were arrested during the operation. Before sunrise at exactly 6:12 a.m. in Arlington, Virginia, a quiet hallway inside a secure wing of the Pentagon became the center point of a national emergency. What began as nothing more than a routine compliance inspection turned into one of the most alarming internal security breaches in modern American history. A simple check, conducted by two federal auditors who expected nothing more than procedural irregularities, instead opened the door to a discovery so shocking and so deeply embedded inside the nation's own infrastructure that it forced federal command systems into an emergency posture normally reserved for foreign attacks or nuclear-level threats. The silence of the early morning was shattered not by gunfire, but by the realization that a hidden enemy had been operating from within the country's most trusted institutions. Inside a modest office belonging to Senior Policy Advisor Michael R. Hanford, investigators found a welded steel compartment concealed behind an ordinary office printer. An object so common, so unremarkable, that countless employees walked past without ever noticing anything unusual. But when the panel was cut open, the truth emerged in a cold metallic glow. Inside the compartment lay 3.88 kilograms of pure, uncut cocaine, $74,000 in rubber-banded cash stacks, and a loaded SIG Sauer P320 pistol equipped with an aftermarket slide. This was not seized evidence awaiting documentation. This was not logged contraband. This was personal storage, hidden in the workspace of a man with direct access to military logistics, supply chain routing, and secure communication channels. It wasn't just illegal, it was treasonous. When agents placed Hanford in handcuffs, he remained silent. No denial, no explanation. Not even a token attempt to protest his innocence. That silence spoke louder than any confession could have. It was the silence of a man who knew the system behind him was bigger, wider, and more dangerous than anything the agents standing in that room were prepared to understand in that moment. Hours later, inside the digital labs at Quantico, analysts cracked into Hanford's encrypted laptop. What they expected to find were personal emails, documents, maybe a private chat history. What they found instead was a blueprint of an infiltration operation that had been quietly running beneath U.S. federal infrastructure for years. There were routing logs for shipments disguised as military equipment transfers, full payment ledgers tied to cartel accounts, safe house maps, internal schedules, communication drafts, and access spreadsheets. Every folder was labeled. Every file was time-stamped. Every operation was mapped with military-style precision. It was unlike anything the analysts had ever seen linked to a cartel infiltration case. Within minutes, the FBI DHS, ICE, ATF, DOJ, and the Department of Defense were pulled into an emergency coordination call. As the data was projected onto the wall of the Joint Operations Center, one revelation after another cut through the room like cold steel. This was not one corrupt advisor. This was not a single compromised employee. It was a network, neatly structured, deeply embedded, with layers of clean identities and reliable internal assets positioned in the exact roles required to operate unnoticed. 22 covert shipments had been approved using Hanford's digital signature alone, each disguised as routine logistics transfers. 37 federal and state employees were listed under the label reliable, each perfectly positioned inside procurement, routing, warehouse access, and communication systems. 14 suburban safe houses across Virginia, Maryland, and North Carolina were mapped with precise details. Cross-checks revealed years of infiltration, years of positioning, grooming, and executing covert operations under the noses of federal agencies. By dawn of the next morning, a rare unified directive was issued by federal command. Execute all targets simultaneously, no delays, no leaks, no staggered operations. Every team in every state was deployed before the sun had fully risen. Just outside Arlington, a quiet two-story home in a peaceful neighborhood became the scene of the first gunfight. Neighbors believed a young couple lived there. The surveillance teams knew better. 5 CJNG-linked operatives were inside. At 5:03 a.m., FBI breachers slammed through the front door. Automatic gunfire erupted from the staircase within seconds. Agents dove behind the kitchen island as bullets ripped through walls, shredding drywall and shattering glass. Alone, each detail looked harmless, but together, they formed a hidden skeleton beneath the country's legitimate systems. As news of the raids spread internally, compromised employees began to panic. In Charlotte, one coordinator abandoned his desk and vanished into the woods. In Denver, 2 contractors attempted to break into a server closet to wipe routing logs. In Tampa, a senior communications technician barricaded himself inside a restricted room, severing fiber lines, smashing encrypted devices, and shouting that investigators did not understand how big it is. His fingerprints later matched packaging found at Norfolk. By nightfall, 9 agencies reported missing personnel, wiped machines, shredded documents, unauthorized badge use, attempted server breaches, and suspicious resignations. This was not corruption. This was coordinated collapse. By Friday morning, top officials gathered in Washington. When the entire map of discoveries was displayed at once, a chilling truth settled over the room. CJNG had not infiltrated employees. They had infiltrated the system itself. Databases, procurement channels, warehouse networks, port clearance systems, private contractors, and suburban communities. It was a web so well hidden that it existed just beneath the surface of American infrastructure. To counter the threat, the Secretary of Homeland Security approved the creation of a new interagency unit, the Federal Integrity Restoration Task Force. Its mandate was unprecedented. It could override departments, audit databases, investigate clearance holders, dismantle routing channels, track covert systems, and purge compromised employees nationwide. Field teams were deployed immediately. In New Jersey, they discovered a storage unit containing counterfeit federal uniforms. In Phoenix, they found a router forwarding manifest data to Mexico City. In Seattle, they uncovered a house rented under the identity of a deceased veteran, filled with laptops tied to procurement networks. Each discovery widened the threat map. Each hour revealed another layer of infiltration. Agents realized they were not undoing corruption. They were removing an infection that had quietly fused itself into the country's operational heartbeat. In the final briefings, one truth echoed louder than any other. The greatest threats are not always outside the borders. Sometimes they move quietly through hallways where trust is automatic, where badges are rarely questioned, and where routine becomes the perfect disguise. CJNG did not break into the system. They used the system. They walked through open doors. They operated under workflows that no one ever thought to question. But in the face of this hidden enemy, America did not stand still. Agents breached doors before dawn. Analysts stitched together clues once thought insignificant. Investigators pieced through shredded documents. Agencies collaborated in ways they had not in years. And a nation, shaken but not broken, began the long process of restoring its internal defenses. By nightfall, 9 agencies reported missing personnel, wiped machines, shredded documents, unauthorized badge use, attempted server breaches, and suspicious resignations. This was not corruption. This was coordinated collapse. By Friday morning, top officials gathered in Washington. When the entire map of discoveries was displayed at once, a chilling truth settled over the room. CJNG had not infiltrated employees. They had infiltrated the system itself: databases, procurement channels, warehouse networks, port clearance systems, private contractors, and suburban communities. It was a web so well hidden that it existed just beneath the surface of American infrastructure. This is not just a story about infiltration, it is a story about resilience. And though the immediate threat has been contained, the deeper truth remains. Somewhere beneath the infrastructure, another layer may be waiting. Another network, another blueprint, another silent operator who has not yet made a mistake. And when the next discovery comes, and it will, America will be forced once again to confront the shadow growing beneath its own institutions. Smoke grenades choked the hallways, footsteps thundered across the upper floor, and in less than 90 seconds the firefight was over. 2 suspects lay dead. 3 surrendered, trembling, covered in dust and sweat. Inside a hidden pantry compartment, agents found 28 kilograms of methamphetamine, forged military shipping labels, and routing slips linked directly to Pentagon systems. It wasn't a residence. It was a fully functional logistics cell. In Houston, an industrial steel warehouse shook violently as a SWAT-operated MRAP slammed into its reinforced doors. Sparks exploded against metal beams as cartel riflemen fired from behind engine blocks and stacked machinery. The firefight was brief but intense, with bullets ricocheting off steel supports. Inside the warehouse, agents recovered 118 rifles, 7 belt-fed machine guns, 42 kilograms of cocaine, crates disguised as auto parts and military-grade suppressors. This was not small-scale trafficking. This was strategic armament. Across the California desert, drones tracked a fleeing black SUV racing toward the open dunes. When helicopters descended, 3 cartel operatives attempted to escape on foot, scattering in different directions. They were captured without shots fired, but their RFID devices connected them directly to previously unknown safe houses. At Norfolk Port, officers intercepted 6 shipping containers seconds before unloading. Each bore meticulously forged federal seals. Inside were chemical precursors, cash bundles, processed cocaine, and documentation signed by a retired Delaware state official whose name had been dormant for 7 years. The breach was deeper than anyone expected. By sunrise, the combined seizures from all operations totaled 2.1 tons of narcotics, 221 firearms, and 58 high-level arrests. Yet investigators quickly realized that the drugs weren't the biggest threat. The real danger was the infrastructure beneath the surface. In Boston, analysts worked through the night,